Well, top of the morning to y'all. Today's gonna be a glorious day. Well, we're starting out a little bit late today. Yesterday we didn't get anything done. We have just been so busy trying to keep up with our business due to the fact that we sell off-grid supplies and mainly wood stoves, pellet stoves, fireplaces, and as of late, a monster number of wood cook ovens, because all of you self-sufficiency enthusiasts are trying to make sure that you're prepared for, you know what, the times that are coming. I have a feeling that if you do not know how to grow your own food and be self-sufficient, then times are going to be a lot harder for you than those who do. So get yourself books right now. So if the internet goes down for any reason, you've got books to turn to in order to still refresh your memory on how to build things, cook things. Make sure that you have your first aid books. It's getting really crazy out there. When maintenance crews go out on the tracks and they see that the ties are starting to split, they nail these on to hold them together instead of having to put in new ties. That one caught me pretty deep right across there. So I'm gonna have to take a break. Let's take a quick break here a second, just to show you. I got the wall going up. Should be able to get this knocked out tonight. And might have one more half load to get her up to the top. And then come tomorrow's our family day. So kind of tweaked the back today, trying to hang on to a tie that went one way and I went the other. And so come Sunday, we are gonna go pick up our solid core door, get this all framed in, get the door installed, and you know, hoping that we're gonna be able to get this thing buried, hopefully by Monday. And there's my beautiful wife sitting up there, patiently waiting for something to do. So I get these out and get her done. Well, there you go. This is how dark it is in here. We got the wall up. And all we have is the final area in order to frame in our door and our tunnel. And then come Sunday, we're gonna end up having a major dig out party on the pond so that we can bury this bad boy. So I've got ties every 2, every 3 wall ties, straps to the vertical posts, every 2 to 3 ties. And then I'm gonna, more than likely, I'm gonna put a vertical post, one vertical post right up the side here in concrete, just because, you know, nothing wrong with a little overkill when you're in an underground building. So, you know what? We wanted to have this accomplished. Hey, Poke. Hey, Poker. What are you doing? What are you doing? Hi, Poke. Yeah, he's my buddy. So we wanted to have this done by today, and mission accomplished. You know, you kind of think back on the very beginning of just breaking ground with the idea of doing this, and we made changes all throughout the building process, different ways to beef it up and to stabilize it. Still gonna have a lot more to do in the way of stabilizing and putting in some more cross beams, but we're there. And there's MJ. So I feel like we got her accomplished. My body's a little beat up, but just makes me that much stronger for the next project. I got an extra beam sitting up there that I might replace a beam that I have installed. But come Sunday, we have pressure treated 2x4s, and we're going to nail all of the beams together So it's one solid unit. 1 week left of rent on this guy. So we have to do all of our trenching, all of our pads. We got some other work to do. We got to scrape our road. We got to spread some ground asphalt, and it's coming together. Today we were supposed to get thunder and lightning storms and hopefully heavy downpours, because we're in serious need of some rain here in Texas. And it's actually really comfortable this morning. It's in the 80s, and it does look promising. If you can see here that we just might get some rain. It's been thundering all morning, but it is 7 a.m. and if you've watched TikTok, people have been doing all kinds of rain dances and so forth, and just might be. Well, all you Texans out there doing your rain dances, congratulations. It worked. It is starting to pour. I hope we get one of them Texas downpours, and I hope it lasts for some time. Well, with the Texas downpour, we have found that our trailer is not level, and we actually have a cable line running through our window, and it is pouring so hard that because the window is not sealed, it is. Hey Julie, go ahead and disconnect the phone line. We're going to push it out and shut the window. We never experienced this in our Monaco. But, you know, it is what it is. That's how much water we have, which Julie just had to grab the flashlight, so I can't show you again. But it is just pouring. I have got to just say something. I was just out in this, and I tried to jack up the trailer, and every single time the sky lit up, I got shocked. It was rather terrifying. And after I decided that I was no longer going to grab the wrench and try to lift up the jacks on our trailer, we had a flash and an immediate boom right overhead, and it made me pee a little. It was scary as all get out, and I don't know how serious the shock would have been if I would have been grabbed onto that trailer or that jack at that time. But there is so much electricity in the air, I can't even jack up the trailer and try to get it leveled out there because it's just too dangerous.
I just dropped the freaking flashlight in the...
Okay. Looks like we're going to get the window closed, and it has stopped. All right.
Well, this is waterproof.
So, we have successfully fixed the problem. A lot of the ranchers have been taking their cattle to the auctions because they don't have any water for them, and which is a bad thing for the economy here. Just wanted to show you here really quick that all of you out there praying for rain, God is good. So far this morning, we have our the start of our drain in. This is only barely 10 feet coming out from underneath the building. Underneath the building, we ended up putting down sand, visqueen, and anything that pretty much builds in the way of moisture underneath is going to hit the visqueen. And then this corner over here is a touch low, I'll end up hitting this drainage, and I'm going to end up running it out of probably another 10 feet, and then putting a gravel pit so that it can drain, just to draw off extra water underneath the building. You know, I didn't get too sophisticated about this, you know, and there could have been some holes obviously in the Visqueen during the construction of putting the walls and so forth in, but we are going to be overlapping this several feet coming off of the building. So not only are we going to have the walls done for anything that does hit, I mean, we're going to have 2 layers. We're having tarp and then our pond liner on the roof. So if anything was to work its way over to the walls, it's going to end up hitting the Visqueen all the way around. And I'll show you what's going on in here. I also put the support beam in, strapped it to the wall, put in concrete for the backfill just to hold it together. And then in here, Julie we're experimenting with spray foam. We're seeing how far a can goes, $5 a can, see how many cans it takes to do a section, and then we're going to figure if it's worth, you know, going this route or not. Realistically, I don't see us sticking with this.
Just maybe the big cracks.
Yeah, you know, like that one right there, that was a good inch and a half crack. So she'll probably just fill just the large ones. But we are encapsulating all of the walls and vertical ties and the roof in with some type of wrap, and then we're going to mesh it, and then we're going to stucco it. You know, like I mentioned earlier, railroad ties are made of tar, and tar isn't necessarily the best thing to be, you know, breathing. So we're taking extra special care and making sure that everything is encapsulated. So we're not going to have to worry about it. Plus we're going to have some fresh air vents coming in, maybe one, because we can always open the door if need be, but we don't want to affect the internal air envelope temperature. So we're going to be very careful in how we do this. And again, Julie and I are coming up with new ideas every time we come in here as to what we're going to do. So time to start framing in the final section here, which is right here, right here. And then we're going to kick our tunnel out. You know, the more I think about it and how much work it's going to take to put a 9-foot tunnel on here, we might only go 4 feet just because we don't want to build, you know, a 9-foot long tunnel, because that's going to be some serious work. So, you know, we're trying to get this thing knocked out on being able to cover it and bury it. So we shall see. So let's go. Oh, my. Sitting here in the shade, just taking a break. We put in some more supports. We were going to do some backfilling, and I decided to dig out by the pond, and I found that the pond mud is like quicksand. So I spent an hour, you know, inching my way, lifting the bucket, lifting the arm, pushing myself this way, pushing myself that way. It took me an hour to lift the backhoe out of the mud. I was sunk probably 4 feet. The bottom of the wheels were sunk into about the top. Yeah, Jelly, she was just sitting there shaking her head, just laughing at me. You know, I'm just like, well, it's not going to beat me, so I'm going to stay here as long as it takes. So
I was just trying to figure out what type of tow truck is going to pull a backhoe out of a pond in quicksand. Because I looked at our pickup and went, nope.
You're not considered a backhoe driver if you can't lift yourself out of a hole. So, you know, I knew I could do it. It was just a matter of, you know, making everything happen the right way. And, you know, there was one point where I was like vacuumed into the mud and I was just like going, man, this is going to be fun. So anyhow, again, an hour later, but, so it's 103 right now. Julie says, she'll sit here and talk, but she doesn't want to be on camera because her bangs are all messed up and
Covered in sweat.
And she's covered in sweat, you know. She doesn't like to be all hot and sweaty. So anyhow, just putting a little moment in here showing that this is what we do about 20 times a day. We work for about 10, 20 minutes and drink a couple bottles of water and recoup and go at it again. So anyhow, I'm going to get this tunnel up, hopefully completed today. And I really don't want to go to bed tonight knowing that I still have the tunnel to do, because as soon as the tunnel's done, then all we have to do is frame in the door. Alrighty then. Well, Heidi ho. Show you what we got going on here since the last time we showed you. Things have been getting a little bit slower because this is putting a lot of strain on my back, and oh man, I need like a good week to heal. But because of this thing right here, I'm not working due to the fact that an alarm went off and in the little digital readout it said stop now. So that pretty much means that for the sake of the machine, I had to call Sunbelt, tell them that it's got a problem, and here it sits. We were just on the final run of the roof for our tunnel. And here's our tunnel. Ain't that a peach? So we've got approximately 15 ties to go. And this is where we stand right now. So that will be enclosed. And because I've been running so slow due to my sore back, we haven't got to picking up our door yet. I haven't framed this up. I just pretty much have just got the tunnel walls built. Hey, Poke. Hey, buddy. What are you doing? So, anyhow, it's close. You know, we have to still do a bunch of sealing in here, but we have our freezer in here that we are encapsulating in this heavy visqueen, and then we're putting a frame around it and filling it with sand, and then we're going to keep the sand damp, and this visqueen's going to act like a pool liner, and it should hold the moisture in there for quite some time. You know, once this thing is completely buried, we're hoping that you know, it stays at least in the 70s. You know, we're gonna find out. But long. You know, I don't really like to film myself or record myself, excuse me. Film myself, I'm kind of dating myself. While I'm building things, due to the fact that, oh man, it seems like things go wrong when I do that. So I like to get things done, and then I can turn on the camera and record it. This wall over here, it's got a little more of a whoopty in it. And this wall, I angled both of my support beams on an angle out, because I'm going to have so much pressure from the dirt pushing in. And then we're tying all the roof beams into the walls, so it's going to be pretty stout. Yeah, we finished putting the visqueen on the exterior, just draping it down. It's just extra, you know, protection from letting dirt and so forth push through the walls. We're going to do it on the tunnel here too, and then we're going to backfill up to the roof line, and we're going to drape our tarps, our 19 by 29 tarps. We're going to overlap them and cover the whole thing, put some earth bags on them just to hold them into place. And then we're putting our pond liner on it. And once we get our pond liner on it, then we're going to bury the whole thing. So I guess Julie just hollered down to me, and she said that they're not going to be out till tomorrow morning now to fix this. So let me show you the crime scene. I told you about getting stuck in the pond. Yeah. So I originally dug this out to see how it would hold water, and it holds water like a swimming pool. But see all this soft stuff out there? That's where I got stuck. And I wanted to get out further so I could dig further out into the pond, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. So we're going to finish clearing all this stuff here out of here, and then we're going to drive out as far as we can until it starts showing that I sink, and I'm going to just reach out and just start digging. And you know, I want to get at least 6-8 feet deep, and then we're going to finish clearing out a nice big swath pathway through there, so that we can have walking paths going through the trees on hot days. It'll be nice and cool. So there you go. The adventure continues. Well, hello one and all. Today's the next day after the backhoe broke down, and they finally got out here at 11 to get it up and running. So that puts me out here at a very, very late start, and it's always harder to get started when it's halfway through the day, but they did let us know that they were going to be this late, so we ran to the home improvement store, and we got our door. What we decided to go with was a solid core steel door. You know, we're going to see how that works out for us. You know, we really don't want any type of heat hitting any of the walls to affect the indoor temperature. So that's the reason why we went with this 9-foot tunnel. And today's going to be a tough one. Woke up to a stiff back again this morning. Yep, another wine session. And Julie is so busy selling stoves that she can't assist me today. So I'm going to put this roof on all by myself, which it is what it is. And we're going to get her done, get the roof on. Then I'm going to go for framing in the door. I'd like to have that accomplished today. And we'll see how far I go. I always set my goals a lot higher than I can, realistically achieve, but it keeps me moving. Today's supposed to top out at 106, and right now we have a pretty nice little breeze with some cloud cover, and it's keeping it down in the 90s. So time to get at it. Let's get her done. Hello, all you fellow homesteaders and self-sufficiency enthusiasts. I had to make a quick little video here in regards to our decision on using these railroad ties. Railroad ties are a product that, if you can find them, they can help a rather large build go up rather quick. And Julie and I originally decided that we were going to build our shelter slash root cellar out of earth bags. We purchased 1,000 earth bags on Amazon for like $300. So that was the whole original game plan, due to the fact that that was the easiest method for us to get this project started. We had talked about using other products, cinder block. I'm a mason by trade, or one of the things that I've done over the past business-wise. And we also talked about using the railroad ties. Well, the problem is railroad ties aren't that easily found. And I had been looking ever since we had all of the tornado incidents here around our area. And I just, there was nothing that could be found. So it was easy for us to get on Amazon and just buy the earth bags. So one day I just happened to be cruising through Craigslist, and I seen a gentleman that has a company that purchases the railroad ties from Union Pacific after they swap out a portion of the railway, and they stack them to the side. And he was selling them for $5 a piece, which, if you investigate, that is an incredible price. Now, these are seconds, but this gentleman happens to sell you $5 a piece, but if you buy them in a decent quantity, and we were buying them at 100 a pop, he'll throw in an extra 25 just in case there's some really bad ties in the mix. So you're actually getting, I'm averaging 110 roughly good ties that are usable, which there are some bad ones in there. So it's a pretty incredible deal. Now, he'll deliver them to you for $9 a tie, which to Julie and I, it's $900 for 110 ties basically, which worked for us. And it put us back into the game plan of using the railroad ties as soon as we located this gentleman on Craigslist. So that's how we ended up, finalizing our decision on going with the railroad ties. Now, one thing that not a lot of individuals know is railroad ties does have some hazardous traits to them that aren't necessarily good for your health. They preserve these ties by soaking them in creosote, in a tar. And in my investigation, one of the preservative products in the tar is arsenic. Now, what I have found is that the brand new ties, which I did end up receiving some literally brand new unused ties with one of my loads, is more acidic. It is more reactive to the skin. Like when I was cutting with the chainsaw or a sawzall, if I ended up cutting something and I was sweaty and the sawdust got on me, it literally created an itch, and it even started to somewhat burn at a point, which, I only let that go on for a minute because I was kind of attentive to it. So the difference there is the used ties, like these here, majority of the tar and the gassing off is a lot less. So they're not as bad to work with. I don't have any problem with getting sawdust from an older tie like this on my skin. Now, I do want to, for you out there, if you happen to be, sensitive to irritants and so forth, if you're going to use railroad ties or work with them, wear long sleeves, cover your skin, wear eye protection, and you're going to end up wanting to make sure that you pretty much just protect yourself. Throughout the videos, you've probably seen every now and then I wasn't wearing gloves. Well, let me tell you, that was only because I just set them down and I just happened to not put them on before I started the video. But 99% of working with the ties, I had my gloves on, foremost because you don't want to get some big sliver jamming up into your skin, which I've been very, very fortunate, thank you Lord, that I'd never had anything like that happen to me. But I can tell you that the railroad ties works for us, and the brand new ties is something that you really want to pay attention to protecting yourself with. Now, the gassing off from the brand new railroad ties is what we're really focusing on. We had a portion of the shelter built to where there was no smell, no anything inside of it, until we really put a decent quantity of brand new ties inside of it, which really kind of revealed to us that there was a lot more gassing off. Now, at this stage, the shelter is pretty much established, and I can tell you that there is some odor of the tar in it, and that is going to be dealt with by two methods that we investigated. The first method is you need to encapsulate it by using a product that you spray on, and it's like Kills. Now, Kills is a product that you use to cover up stains and so forth, so that you can paint over them, or something that's on your wall that keeps coming through a new type of paint job. And Kills was the first thought that we ended up thinking that we were going to use, but after further investigation, we found that Kills will not stop the gassing off. Here's a picture of the product that we're going to, be using, which we're comfortable with our investigation. So, you just have to pretty much investigate, make sure that you're comfortable with the decision that you make. Now, after the lacquer product that we're going to be putting on, we're actually then going to be putting Visqueen over the whole perimeter and the ceiling, which is going to run down, and then the concrete's going to pour against the Visqueen. Then the next thing that you're going to see that's going to take place is we have an air circulation system that we purchased, and it draws out the interior air and it pumps in fresh air. We feel as though that this is going to be sufficient for us, and if by chance it doesn't do everything that we're hoping that it does, then we might get two of them. But again, we're not living in this. This is a shelter. It is a root cellar, but we are going to do what we have to do in order to consider that if it was a living situation, let's just say that some big hurricane blew through Texas and just smashed our trailer and we had to live in this. Well, the shelter is going to survive a tornado, a hurricane, you know, you name it, this thing's gonna stand. So we're gonna make sure that our interior air is, is clean. Who knows, we could end up putting some type of filtered system in also, but we shall see. So the final words here is, I'm making the video just to make sure that everybody understands that the first few videos that I put out, I never mentioned anything in regards to the health aspects. Do your homework. We are confident that this is going to be the best method for what we desire, and it might work for you too. You know, honestly, for an 18 by 27 shelter, it's pretty cost effective. So there you go. Best of luck to all of you out there that are going to give railroad ties a try. Understand one thing, if if you're not in shape, you will be by the time your project's done, guaranteed. Peace.